So I thought this was kind of interesting because they actually address a lot of the core criticisms that I think most people actually do have with the game right here. So it says, to our dedicated citizens of Super Earth, we've been following your feedback over the past few days and seeing the conversations across the Helldivers community. Days? Days? Don't you mean months to year? It like Helldivers has had a major problem for more than a year. For more than a year. I mean, I tried it out back in April, or I didn't even play it. I opened it. To be genuine, I think the last time I actually played the game was probably on stream. And I mean, if we go back, when's the last time I played Helldivers? Because the last time I played Helldivers, I went unhinged on the game. And that was back. Oh my god, it's been so long. Holy shit. Okay, I'm actually struggling to find it. God damn. I Dude, it's been 8 months. I haven't played it this year. So yeah, I've been pretty pissed at the game for a while because it's just had like disastrously bad patches that have felt entirely disconnected from the community and what we want out of the game. So I don't know what they mean by days. Maybe the last few days are the first few days that they've been listening. Helldivers 2 matters to all of us, and we want to be clear about what we're working on and what's coming next. Alongside new content, we're focused on improving the core of the game: stability, progression, and the galactic war. Now, those are pretty good. The performance of the game was really bad last time Gabby and I played it. Progression is a joke. It's all entirely like paywall, basically, which also kind of stops me from wanting to get back into it because when you've been in it, it's not paywalled. But when you've been out of it, it's suddenly just paywalled. And it's hard to jump back into the game. So progression I didn't think was a problem, but now that I've been out of it, the last couple times I've been like, well, that battle pass does look pretty good, but to get it, I'd have to drop 20 bucks, or not really 20 bucks, probably like 10 bucks. Drop 10 bucks, then I'd have to grind out medals to unlock each thing in the pass. To be honest, after playing some Far Far West, pretty consistently, I gotta say, their version of progression should be adopted immediately. You should be finding, like, the progression system for Far Far West is so much better. Having all of the individual weapons, instead of being in passes, just be part of a catalog that you unlock via, like, things you select and then work towards, would be much better for one. Um, but two, like, it allows you to do a broader thing. So, like, there's a lot more content, I think, in Helldivers than in Far Far West because it's so new. So I'd say you probably want to be able to, like, instead of one gun at a time, unless it's very quick comparatively, maybe do, like, per equipment slot. But anyways, the Galactic War has been honestly a joke ever since like it felt cool at first, especially when we had like the first black hole, but nothing meaningful has happened in player choice and what we do as a community in the Galactic War since like the meme of the moderately impaired in like orphans or whatever, since we decided to save the orphans instead of getting the dumb landmines that were bad. Like we basically haven't had anything cool happen in the Galactic War since that. And that was like the first year. So that's been like 2 or 3 years now. Alongside new content, we're focused on improving the core of the game: stability, progression, and Galactic War. Below, we pulled together answers to some questions we seeing across Reddit, Discord, and X. We'll keep sharing more as we go. What is the team focused on right now? What are their current priorities? Right now, a major focus for the team is improving meta progression and the Galactic War. That shouldn't be the primary focus, I don't think. Meta progression could mean a lot of things. We've significantly expanded the team working in this area, reflecting how important these long-term systems are for the overall player experience. Progression in the Galactic War is, to me, not the primary concern. The primary concern is actually, like, the balance, because how the fights in Helldivers feel less fun. The balance has been bad for a while. Having to use explosive weapons to fight the swarms feels less good. Like, it used to be, especially like in the beginning of the Illuminate, that it felt pretty fun that you could take in like machine guns and like actually just be gunning everything down with machine guns. But like everything else, it's just devolved into, well, you gotta use explosives. You just gotta use explosives because it's better against everything. Explosives are the only thing you can use. Because it's fun fighting swarms, but the non-explosive AoE options need to be just as good against fighting swarms. And there's a lot of things you could do for that, but, like, I'm not nearly as concerned about meta progression in the Galactic War as I am just making sure that the core gameplay is really fun. And I think the core gameplay is still fun-ish, but it's drifted so far away from feeling, like, rewarding in, like, a chaotic way that's good, and more just like, oh, there's like shit popping out of the ground all the time that I can't react to unless I shoot the ground with explosive weapons. Oh, there's a bunch of enemies that literally don't take damage unless I'm hitting them with fucking explosive weapons. Oh, there's enemies who have health pools split across multiple weak points to where I can only efficiently take them down if I'm hitting them in the core with explosive weapons. Oh, there's a bunch of enemies who are armored in a way that I can really only efficiently kill them by hitting them with explosive weapons, because all of my projectile weapons are just going to deflect off of their armor, or do reduced damage to where I can't, I will just run out of ammo too quickly. Or, fire weapons used to be an okay alternative to explosive weapons, but now you've nerfed how fire damage works, so now I can't even use that when they were already only B tier compared to fucking explosive weapons. So it's just like, it's a PvE game. There's none of the weapons should be bad. And a lot of the weapons are bad. Like, and you can say just play on lower difficulty, but the lower difficulties are also not fun. it goes like 1 through 3 difficulty. You literally, for one, can't progress things by, like, playing on difficulty 1 through 3. But also, there's so few enemies, the game is genuinely fucking boring. And then 4 through 5 are also kind of fucking boring. You basically have to play on at least difficulty 6 to get things done. But then every point over 6, it just, like, becomes more required that you use specific weapons. And I'd say, for me, the sweet spot of the game is, like, has been, like, 7 or 8. At least historically, but nowadays, with all the, like, new specialized enemies and the nerfs to how durability or how, like, fall-off damage is worked for both distance and resistance factors, has just made it a goddamn slog to fight with anything that's not explosive. The goal is to deliver deeper progression and more engaging galactic war with features like more meaningful rewards and community progression systems. Depending on what that means, that could be great. Evolving major orders into longer, multi-week themed campaigns. That would be incredibly good, because the Galactic War did feel really cool in the beginning, and it's felt literally pointless the last, like, 2 years. Branching outcomes to create clearer stakes and consequences, Blaze. I mean, there literally hasn't ever been this. It's always been like they have an end goal, and it's really like, it doesn't matter what we actually do, that end goal gets met eventually, no matter what. The last time there was any even illusion of stakes was the attack on Earth, on Super Earth. Start to see the first results of this work this summer. In multiple updates, there have been hidden changes to weapons or enemies. Why were they not announced in patch notes? This has been huge. Because, like, every time we ask for balance changes, you give us the balance change that we asked for, but then undo that balance change. Or, like, basically make that balance change irrelevant in a secret patch that came with the patch. So it's like, okay, we wanted all these guns to not suck ass. You gave buffs to those guns that should have made them not suck ass, but then hid buffs on enemies, or changed how, like, fire damage was even calculated, so now those buffs are actually nerfs. This actually, to me, was the number one thing, is that you just kept making playing the game feel worse. It doesn't matter, this stuff above is nice, but it doesn't matter if the core gameplay sucks. And this was making the core gameplay suck. It was making it miserable. And it was making it feel like we couldn't trust you. Because we'd ask for something, and then even when you delivered on it, we'd go, okay, but how did you actually fuck us? It's like, okay, you handed us food, and it's like, but you spit in it, right? You made us this nice soup, but it's full of piss, isn't it? You pissed in the soup, didn't you? We want our patch notes to be clear and complete as possible. The level of detail that matters to our players. In some cases, changes have not been communicated with clarity. The clarity we intended. And we are continuing to improve our internal processes so patch notes more accurately reflect gameplay adjustments. Okay, but this doesn't answer... Oh. This doesn't answer why. Why has this ever been true? Because really it feels like you don't want to listen to us. You don't want us to have fun. And you don't trust that our opinions on your PvE game, like, our opinions are correct. And then you just go, fuck it, we know better, and give us the finger. We're also working on how to explain balance updates more clearly, especially when a change can have effects across multiple weapons, enemies, and gameplay systems. That did not answer the question. That did not answer the question. Clarity, you guys have a problem with clarity. You always have had a problem with clarity. It's still insane to find out a bunch of stats in the game. You have to go to the wiki. Like, why the fuck? So, like, again, this game Far Far West that I've been playing that is very much like Helldivers, it has, like, a bestiary. Why is there not an in-game enemies data log that you unlock as you encounter enemies where you can learn their weaknesses in-game? Why the fuck isn't that in the game? It's so basic. Instead, we have to go to the wiki to find out what the weak spots of enemies are and how to effectively fight them. Otherwise, you as a player, you have to trial and error what works. And there's too many things in the game to trial and error things. I shouldn't have to have my phone out going, okay, like, how do I kill this thing? And looking up how you kill something. That's dumb. There's so much this game lacks in clarity and has lacked in clarity. I had been asking for some kind of, like, you know, combat log forever. And I know you guys could do it. You track, like, our kill stats and stuff. Fucking just do it. We will get more frequent updates about the game. Yes, improving how regularly and clearly we communicate is a priority for us. We're moving towards more consistent communication updates with deeper conversations happening more often. That would be very good. But only if you're actually clear. I still don't trust you. Until it happens, I don't fucking trust you. You've been fucking lying for like almost 3 years. You guys are... You're just fucking liars. Every single time we've been promised something, you give us a half-truth on that promise, and then we get fucked behind the scenes. So, until I see it, I just do not trust you, Arrowhead. I do not fucking trust you. You guys are liars. In the near term, the conversation will be focused on bigger issues we're seeing from players, including tech and performance. I mean, your performance has always been bad. But, admittedly, this is the area where you guys have improved the most. So, if I was going to trust you on one thing, it would probably be this. Because, like, occasionally there is a bug that it has, like, egregious performance. But performance is the thing where you guys have actually delivered the most. The like data bloat update you guys did, truly magnificent. So if I'm going to give you guys credit, tech and performance improvements have been the only sector in which you guys have not lied and have delivered. I will give you credit there. Arrowhead, you have improved tech and performance consistently. That being said, this is lower priority for me because you've already done most of it for me. The vision for game balance moving forward. I mean, your vision is antithetical to what the community wants. And there should probably be more asymmetrical balance between the factions. It's pretty clear to me at this point that the identity... So I haven't played in a minute, but I have kept up with the game. At least I haven't played on stream. I've jumped in just to try out new enemies each time they've added new enemies and something to get an idea for them. To me, it's pretty pretty clear that the identity for the faction like the automatons should actually be non-swarm based. Like, it should be smaller squads of elite enemies. Much smaller squads. Especially with some of the giga enemies you've added to the automatons. Automatons should be moving in small elite squads at this point. Because, I mean, honestly, fighting the automatons when they swarm at the same level as the Illuminate and the Illuminate and the Terminids, it's unplayable. It's unplayable when you get swarmed by these larger enemies. It's actually incredibly unfun. The automatons used to be my favorite faction, and they could still be my favorite faction, but it's very obvious to me that the asymmetrical balance that needs to be happening is that they are non-swarm based. That they might fall, that you fight much smaller quantities of enemies that are much more elite, much more dangerous. Because, like, as is, when you get swarmed by, I don't remember what they're called, but when you get swarmed by, like, 4 of these giga elite enemies, it's like the only way you can even fight them is to cheat. And to, like, use exploitative systems. And this is not a get good, like, you can't just say get good. No, the tools that exist in the game do not exist for you to be able to fight these enemies at the volume that you fight them. They do not exist. Player progression and broader player experience with the Galactic War. I still I just don't know what that fucking means. You've got to explain yourself more on what this actually means. Not this part, I think, but player progression experience. Like, we need to know what that means. So this just doesn't mean anything to me. This is the most important one to me, and I just don't know. Like, you guys have failed so spectacularly in this regard consistently. I just don't know. I just don't know. There's so much in the game that has been so useless for so long. For me to trust you on balance, I need to see 3 things. I need to see distinct balance asymmetry between the factions, so that different weapons are good against different factions, and different strategies are good against different factions. This is deeply untrue right now. Right now, explosive weapons are the best across the board. Bullet-based guns are bad across the board. You are a PvE game. You should have... there's always going to be a meta. Like... there's always going to be a meta. Most effective tactics available. There's always going to be a meta. But the range of success between the top and bottom should not be what it is. The bottom in this game is unusable. The bottom in this game has 0 use case. Whereas the top in this game has goddamn universal use case. Every weapon should be viable against at least one faction. I am not saying every gun needs to be viable against every faction. Every gun should be usable and not feel like you're taking a voluntary nerf by holding it against at least one faction. The Illuminate used to feel this way. I liked the new units y'all added, but prior to the new units, arc weaponry, the electric weapons, were phenomenally S tier against the Illuminate. Every electric burst weapon was S tier against the Illuminate, and then you added the new units, and suddenly every electric weapon was useless against the Illuminate. I don't know if there was other changes on top of that, but like the Blitzer and the Blitzer was amazing. I forget the secondary weapon that fires lightning. That was incredible. The Tesla the Tesla tower was incredible. All of those things were incredible against the Illuminate. And then you added the new units, and now they're unusable. They're just completely unusable. On top of that, there are Illuminate enemies that just the number of effective weapons is so narrow as to make them kind of unfun in general. Initially, the meat wads, I don't remember what they're actually called. I've always called them meat wads. The meat wads could be effectively taken down with fire weapons and things like the Stalwart. Now there is no reason to use anything against them other than like the Plasma Punisher, I'm blanking on the rifle that fires the explosive rounds, and the one that charges up the plasma shots. Those are the only 3 guns that work against them now. Same with like the walkers, the like tripod walkers. Those things used to be pretty effective to kill them with a multitude of weapons, and now it kind of feels like the only fucking thing you can take them down with is yeah, like one-shot rocket weapons. And then the large, like, Manta ship, the like, Giga Large one, that one can literally only even be taken down by, like, 3 weapons, and you can't use stratagem, like, basically none of the stratagems in the game against it effectively target it at all, so you can't even use stratagems against it. It's so awkward to fight, because it just feels like it was integrated into the game poorly. And then, like I said, the automatons at this point, the volume of hard-to-kill elite enemies that just create tons of AoE explosions that, like, ragdoll you around is so high that if you're playing on any high difficulty where all 4 of the members on the party aren't all running the perfect loadouts and you aren't killing things the moment they appear on screen, you're just going to get overwhelmed instantaneously, and then you're never going to be able to recover. Like the inability to recover against the automatons is insane. Whereas the automatons used to be some of my favorite to play against, because again, they had this asymmetry where you could use a bunch of precision weapons to hit their weak spots, because they were super weak to headshots and to their vital spots. The key asymmetry to the automatons should be that all of their units have precise locations that when you hit them with a wide range of weapons, you one-shot them, or close to one-shot them, or kill them in insanely quick time to kills, even with much weaker weaponry. And they should have limited squad sizes of these elite units that incentivize, like, attacking the units from multiple angles so that you can get their weak spots. That should be what's incentivized. And then the Terminids, of course, they just swarm you. They should be swarming you with easy to kill, unlimited numbers of enemy. Cannot stop without having explosive weaponry. This is a problem. Like, the burrower enemies, in general, terrible. They're one of the worst additions I feel like I've ever seen. The burrowing enemies, I hate them. Like, they literally are only counterable via explosive weapons. And the Terminids are the #1 enforcers of just every weapon you need to have needs to be AoE explosive. You used to be able to use things like machine guns and shotguns and flamethrowers and poison. And fuck, even the Blitzer was pretty decent. And it's just not true anymore. What quality of life upgrades and changes will we see for Galactic War? Maybe variations in reward type, like when we used to get stratagems as rewards. Will we do more community-driven events with rewards like that? Good news! Updates to the Galactic War and rewards are coming this summer. We've seen the feedback around rewards and want them to feel more distinctive and more meaningful, and more worthy of the battles you're fighting. This includes adding greater variety to rewards and bringing them back for more excitement. Players have called out including things like stratagem unlocks and more community-driven moments. We also want the Galactic War itself to feel more reactive to players' actions, with events and outcomes that carry more weight. This doesn't mean anything to me. Because, like, what does that mean to you? To me, it would mean that we get player progression, giving us access to more things that is more meaningful. So yes, giving us more usable weapons, stratagems, cosmetics, and world events would be great. Because, like, honestly, I mean, I would give you guys a little bit of money like every other month. I would give you guys like $10 every other month when I was playing this for the first year. In the first year that I played this game, I bought the game and I probably spent $60 additional on the game. I stopped doing that. One, because I was playing it enough that I was getting enough super credits that I didn't need to anymore. But also, I stopped feeling like I was getting a reward for the money I was spent. Because it felt, whenever I didn't play for a while, that it was required that I spent money. But then even when I spent money, I had to do tons of grinding just to unlock the things that I had spent money on. It doesn't feel good. I maintain that if you guys need to be able to make additional income to keep supporting the game, I understand that. And I want to give you guys additional income when you give me things, like when you support the game in a way that I enjoy. I want to. And it could be dumb, useless cosmetics, like ship cosmetics, making our ships more like a little hangout zone. I just think the game, I think at this point, it's not this deep into the life of the game. It worked at first. This deep into the life of the game. The fact that you need to buy and unlock things in the battle passes is problematic. I think the items and equipment you unlock needs to be disjointed from super credits, and you guys need to find a new system of things for us to use super credits on. And then once you do that, remove our ability to farm super credits. I mean it. Remove our ability to farm super credits. Remove the necessity for super credits to be used on armor and weapons entirely, and have a different progression system for weapons and cosmetics. Or not cosmetics. I want cosmetics. Weapons and armor types. Maybe make the cosmetics of the armor entirely microtransaction based, but make the effects of the armor be unlockable. Kind of like, again, Far Far West, which a lot of its effects are tied to these cards that you can equip to your guns and your character itself. Instead, you need to make the effects of armor and the stats of armor, like maybe just select a light class, a medium class, or a heavy class armor, and then the effects, and then they have like effect slots, and you just insert effects, like trait slots, that you unlock via gameplay and nothing else. And then the cosmetics of those armor make them entirely something we purchase via microtransactions. I know you guys have said, we want the realism of the armor to reflect their effects. That's always been bullshit. That's always been bullshit. You guys have put the augmented throw effect on a shitload of armor that doesn't have mechanical hands. Or visibly mechanical hands. Like, the effects you add to armor have nothing to do with the cosmetic visuals of the armor. It's always been bullshit. Drop this realism nonsense. You are like you're a jingoistic, like, space parody, where we get ragdolled 10,000 feet through the air and then don't die. You have armor that has a passive that just gives you a chance to survive any damage. There's no realism. There's no realism. The realism is a joke. Stop using realism as an excuse to kneecap your game. None of us fucking care about realism. We're fighting robots, aliens, and space bugs. Shut the fuck up about realism. No one is playing your game for realism. This is not Tarkov. I do not fucking care. It will be better for the health and income for your studio. Drop realism. Okay, where were we? Including things like strategy unlocks, community-driven moments. We also want Galactic War itself to feel more active player actions with a carrying more mate. We'll be sharing more details soon on how this connects progression and overall experience. Will you ever have public beta testing? What is your beta testing process like now? Yes, expanding how we test updates with players is a priority for us. This definitely needs to happen. Steam has beta, like beta options, and it's crazy that they've never used them, and it constantly feels like the things that happen were tested internally by like 6 guys who don't know how to play the fucking game and don't understand why other people are playing the game. We're exploring having more closed and public beta testing with the goal of getting broader feedback, especially for balance changes before they go live. One of the challenges is finding the right balance between testing changes openly and not spoiling upcoming content or narrative elements tied to Galactic War. We don't care about here's the thing. You don't need to test narrative elements and stuff in a beta. You just need balance. The balance changes are the entire problem you guys have. The balance changes are the entire problem you guys have. You will not ruin narrative elements or Galactic War stuff by giving us beta tests for stratagems and weapons that are not out yet. Enemies, maybe. That's a little more hard, I'll admit. But you do not need to worry about pre-testing narrative elements. It's fine to roll those out and for some of them to be less good and just find out that way. The fact that you guys haven't figured that out, though, over time, like which narrative elements and galactic war elements do and do not work, is... Today, we run closed playtests that cover both new content and balance changes, as well as widely internal studio playtests. Going forward, we're looking at ways to separate these out so we can test balance more openly where it makes sense. I mean, that's good. That's what I was saying. Overall, our goal is to expand the footprint of our testing programs and bring more of the community into the process over time. Why did you put exosuits in the Exo Experts War Bond? Does this mean we won't get an exosuit for free ever again? The goal with the Exo Experts War Bond was to create something that felt thematically strong and exciting with exosuits as a core part of the fantasy. I don't know if they rebalanced exosuits, but exosuits were kind of fucking dog shit in how they felt to play. So, like, I don't actually have an opinion on those. I'd have to try them to see if they actually feel good. That said, we've seen the feedback around how that landed, especially when it comes to expectation around how players unlock major gameplay items like exosuits. I mean, this is what I was saying. We've moved to... The game is out enough, and there's enough content that, especially for players who have taken a break, it is ridiculous. Like, the only way I'm gonna get to experience that content is either start playing and not get to be part of that content for, like, weeks of grinding, or give you money. And I don't know if I want to give you money, because I don't know if the content's fun. You see the problem? I don't know if it's worth money. I don't know. I don't know if the experience of having that content is worth giving you money for it. So instead, just make it cosmetics. Just make all of the gameplay elements free, and then make the cosmetic of the armor free. Make it free. Also, for God's sake, you added this weapon attachment. Just like thinking back to the balance, you added this weapon mod system, and then never fucking did anything with it. It's crazy how useless that system is. More broadly, we want to strike the right balance between what's included in warbods and what's available through gameplay, so that rewards feel both exciting and fair. And to be clear, yes, you will be getting other vehicles through gameplay in the future. When will we get new red stratagems and ship modules? We've got teams actively working on both new red stratagems, evolving ships, and player progression to level 150 and beyond. Our goal is to expand these areas in ways that add meaningful new options to support different playstyles rather than just adding more for the sake of it. We're sharing more details as these get closer to release. Salute. So, I'm glad they had this communication here, but I still think this is woefully inadequate. For that, I just say, I also think Embark is fucking things up.
Raiders?
And I think most people do.
Wow, they never asked me the question like that. They never asked me the question like that. They always ask it, do we different? Let me tell you the honest truth here. I was so excited for Arc Raiders, and I told everybody, I said, listen, I don't know if this game will last, but
me too.
You gotta play it for the first couple months. It'll be the most fun game you've ever played.
It was.
I was right.
Dude, it was fun as fuck, yeah.
I'm a little disappointed. I just gotta be honest. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a little disappointed. I wish it had kept going. I wish I had.
Arc Raiders has not had one good update since it came out. Not one.
Gone the direction that I wish it did.
You were hoping for it?
Yeah. I'm still hoping for it. I'm still rooting for it. I mean, those guys get on their horse and start running. I'll be supporter number one. I will be supporter. Okay. I will be on the front lines.
Miss Arc Raiders?
Yeah, that's the what I'd say in a large way is kind of like the voice, like the most popular public face of Arc Raiders is Peanut, and like there's a reason he hasn't been playing it either. I haven't played it in a while now. We're looking at Arc Raiders. I don't think I've touched the game since, yeah, February. It's been 3 months. And I played this game, like, almost every single day for, like, 3 or 4 months straight. I fucking love this game. I still kind of love the game, and I'm sad that I'm, like, okay, I got, like, 190 hours. I know people have, like, 1,000 hours. And I played it mostly solo, and I was having a goddamn blast. The big problem has been the balance updates, like with Arrowhead, do not seem to understand why people like the game. And the core endgame for the game is also misunderstood. I had a rant video that talked about this, and that actually blew up a little bit. At least for me. It blew up for me. It didn't go, like, viral or anything, but it blew up for me. For my small bean ass. But let's, like I said in that video, I think the core enjoyment of the game is that this game is actually not really an extraction shooter in the traditional sense of what, like, games like Tarkov have really established, and other extraction shooters that have entered the scene like Marathon. It's not like that at all, because those, like, for those games, PvP is the core of the game, and the cycle of loot is supported by PvP. In this game, I would say Arc Raiders is more like an extraction MMO, where the end game is that there is raid bosses. The end game content is raid bosses, and they need to develop the balance and content around that idea, that the end game is raid bosses. A matter of fact, the entire system of having resets, meaningless. They should probably just remove it. Loot to fight more enemies, so that you can get more loot to fight more enemies, is the core of the game, with the end point of those being raid bosses. With PvP in the game basically just being like, well, it's an always-on PvP zone in MMOs. So anyone could be a treacherous little dick at any time if they maybe want to steal loot from you. So it's like an aspect of the game, but it is in no way, like, playing the game PvP only literally hurts you. And there's essentially no way to play it as a PvP only game. At least to engage with the content that is in the game properly. I'm not saying PvP is bad. I think it's a fun component of the game. I'm just saying, like, nothing in it should be curtailing to people that only PvP. Nothing in the game should be curtailing to it. Because it's an aspect mechanic of the game that is entirely outside of the core. And I think that's just demonstrably demonstrated by the underlying mechanics of the game. And they need to just give us a couple more things, which is, one, make these raid bosses, give us more raid bosses like the Matriarch and the Queen that are more interesting to fight with more interesting combat mechanics, like the mechanics you would see from raid bosses in an MMO. The other thing that needs to happen is we need non-consistent variance in our equipment. And like I said, we need something like exotic traits to weapons that perhaps for the end game you can extract and then attach to other equipment. That could be done via these raid bosses. On top of that, there needs to be core loot when you participate in a kill from a raid boss that everyone is guaranteed via, like, a quest reward or something, on top of loot that you get out of it. And that loot needs to be much, much higher than just crafting materials. If anything, the loot that the bosses drop should not be crafted, the like orbs and stuff at all. You should be getting the orbs that are then essential not for crafting these legendary guns, but maybe for an exotic mechanic, for like putting the exotic traits from a gun onto another gun. But you should be getting a high pool of equipment that has exotics attached to it from the drop pool. These would be things that are more worth killing each other over. But also there needs to be enough of them with the expectation that about 10 people are going to have participated. So if people are divvying them up like equitably, each person can get at least one thing. And if people want to fight each other to get a larger share of the pot, they can. But it should not be like as is, where you get like 6 cores from an entire queen, and it's like, okay, what do I do with these 6 cores? Well, I make 2 guns to then fight the queen again. That's the problem. I think this post does not instill confidence either. I did already read through it, but let's go through it. We're changing how we update the game. When Arc Raiders launched, we planned to offer monthly updates. Right away, they've never fucking done that. Even if you count balance changes, they've never fucking done that. We have not gotten monthly updates. You can just look at the update schedule. We have not. We've gotten, like, what I'd call updates would be content ads. We've gotten maybe 4 or 5 content ads since the game has come out, which would be like one every maybe 3 to 4 months. So, even if you count fucking patches, this is just not true. This is just not fucking true. And the game definitely needs more patches. And patches that aren't out of touch. Because, like Helldivers, the balance patches they keep doing are insanely out of touch. They're insanely stupid. They keep doing things like affecting durability in the game in ways that is just, it's plain out dumb. It's antithetical to the fun of the gameplay loop. There are still, and again, too many balance problems with guns, especially rarer guns, that makes them for fun weapons. Like, the only reason to use half of the epic guns is just for the fuck of it. Not because they're good. And their balance change to this is simply to make common and uncommon guns break way more frequently. Which is not even close to the balance change we wanted. The intention was to keep you all engaged, to ensure the game was always felt fresh, to give you reasons to keep braving topside. You failed. You failed in spades. You never did this. You have never done this. Your patches via balance have woefully failed. And while initially interesting, your new content patches have also honestly failed. Outside of the new enemies. But they've also exponentially failed when it comes to the endgame enemies, the Matriarch and the Queen, which are unrewarding, boring, and pointless. But once the game was in players' hands, we saw that the kind of long-term experience we want to create for Arc Raiders requires more transformative updates. Over time, we found that the pressure of a monthly cycle limits how impactful these updates can be. You feel it, and we feel it too. Running at that pace isn't sustainable or compatible with the bigger ambitions we have for this game. What are you talking about? You have never succeeded in following this timeline. maybe this is because you started smaller and got really successful and had to expand your team, but you guys have never done this. This is unbelievable cope. This is an unbelievable lie. You guys have never kept up with this. Maybe the pressure, like this is a fantasy statement. That being said, I do not care the frequency of the updates if the core of the game is fun, because I only stopped playing the game not because I didn't like the core, but because you started to ruin the core. The core of the game was fun enough to just keep going. Now it needs improvements. It doesn't have infinite replayability. But had you guys simply made updates for things that people had been asking for, we never would have had to have this conversation right here. The fact that the patina is still useless is insane. The fact that the Bobcat is still worse than the, like, common machine gun is insane. The fact that all of the legendary weapons have no function outside of fighting the Queen and the Matriarch, so you can make more of those weapons to fight the Queen and the Matriarch, is insane. The biggest problem in the game, balance-wise, is that the weapons are not exciting, the weapons are not interesting, the weapons are not diverse. And all of your balance patches thus far have done nothing to amend this. If anything, they've made things worse. Your addition of new regular enemies has been the only thing you guys have done successfully. Your events have been underwhelming. Your map effects have been underwhelming. The only things you guys have done that has been good is adding new regular arc enemies. You guys need to reimagine and reanalyze not the rate, but the ethos of how you change things. Major updates will come twice a year. Going forward, we've made the decision to release major updates twice a year. Large in scale, more impactful, with the goal of genuinely change how you play the game. Don't worry, a dedicated live service team will continue running Arc Raiders day-to-day regular live updates, plus balance fixes, bug fixes, and store updates, and player events aren't going anywhere. This is fine. I have nothing to say about this. If the player update, or if the balance updates actually start going in a direction that makes sense, and my only worry is you guys already have your heads in the sand. You guys are already out of touch. You guys already don't know what needs to be done for the game. If we have to wait 6 months for a large-scale update, and then it delivers nothing that changes the underlying formula for the game, which needs to happen. We need these changes that lean into what makes the game fun. Then we will have to wait an additional 6 months for you to maybe pull your head out of the sand, and I fear it will just never happen. If the first major update we see does not include a new raid boss with new, better, more interesting mechanics than the Queen and the Matriarch, along with an entire overhaul of late-game loot, and I mean this, an entire overhaul of all late-game loot. All purple and all epic and legendary rarity loot needs to be overhauled completely, along with probably new systems to add variety to epic and legendary loot, with small variety to common and uncommon and rare. If this doesn't happen, it's probably just going to be too deep into the course to change course. And it's just going to happen too slow. That's my only fear. Because again, your balance patches are out of touch and bad. This additional development space also allows us to invest more deeply into the health of Arc Raiders. Some from progression and economy balancing to fair play and anti-cheat efforts. Anti-cheat efforts definitely need to happen, but progression and balancing to me is the number one. I personally do not run into that many cheaters, but I do see that it's pretty abundant. We know these are foundations to the experience, especially in a game where every encounter and extraction matters. Frozen Trail, our biggest update yet. Our next major update lands in October, and it's the largest we've released since launch. This isn't just about volume, it's designed to address the broader questions the community has been asking. Here's a taste of what's coming. Sprawling new frontier. Explore a new landscape in the Rust Belt with layered design and new mysteries to uncover in the largest map in the game. Fine. Your maps have been fine, so I don't really actually care there. I'm sure your new map will be fine. Our most ambitious Arc operations so far, including new Arc enemies with fresh designs and unique behaviors that will challenge raiders in new ways. Good. I hope this also means a new raid boss that has more interesting mechanics to play around. New systems of progression. Many players have maxed out their raiders' den and hit the skill point ceiling. Frozen Trail will introduce new goals and new ways to shape your raiders' progression. This definitely needs to happen, especially because there's no reason to reset in this game outside of getting a cosmetic, and I'm probably never going to do it unless you have, you either, like I said, need to add more interesting endgame, or you need to add a genuine reason for people like me to reset. Because right now, I would never reset because I would lose access to the core mechanics that allow me to engage with the most interesting parts of the game, which is fighting Arc. And nerfing myself so that it's just harder for me to fight Arc and harder for me to recover from bad runs makes no sense. It does not make the game more fun just having to do things over again. Especially because I have 190 hours in the game. I know plenty of people have much more. But I never got all the blueprints in the game. I never even got to a point where I wasn't still needing to farm for some items. Why would I want to reset my progress before I've ever even gotten my progress fully filled? Especially when 190 hours is a lot. That's nearly 5 weeks of a full-time job. Are you kidding me? There's no world in which I would want to have to grind out 5 weeks of a full-time job worth of gameplay again. That is not interesting to me, and I think it is not interesting to many players. So, this is probably, depending on what they do, the most interesting to me. Because they need to make better endgame and not rely on players resetting. Because I think there's a large chunk of players that don't want to reset. Especially because resetting means losing access to basic things, not interesting endgame loot. Endgame loot is already so sparse and so underwhelming that losing access to be able to efficiently recreate it doesn't mean there's a new goal to, like, you have a new goal to rechase to. It means that you just will never get to use these things. Because I didn't even get to start using the endgame loot until probably 150 hours into playing. Which again is normally nearly a month of a full-time job before I even get to start using the endgame loot, which is underwhelming and bad. And because it's underwhelming and bad, the only reason you would use it is you have enough of a backlog of equipment to where dumping a bunch of materials into weapons that break quickly or have expensive ammo and expensive crafting costs is trivial to you. So it takes a month of a full-time job just to be able to pretend to use equipment that's rare. Exploring the origin of Ark. What are Ark and where did they come from? Frozen Trail gives raiders the opportunity to begin uncovering that mystery. I don't care. I don't care. The world building of the world is just stupid. I don't care. I don't care. There's no allure to it to me. Maybe some people care about that. I don't give a shit. There's nothing interesting about the world or the world building of Ark Raiders to me. Not a single thing. It is just a vehicle to fight robots. I don't care. Improved skill trees. I also don't care. This is not even kind of something I think about. It's also something I don't think I want to think about unless you're revamping the skill tree to create dramatically different play styles amongst people who specify into individual branches. I could care about this, but given the way the current skill trees work, I probably couldn't care less. It's not something I think about even a little bit. Like I said, it would be much more interesting if we have traits like things that are in the skill tree that are then, and preferably things that are more interesting, which are somewhat randomly attached to loot. That way the loot is more interesting. Your problem is the loot is not interesting. Alongside new weapons, items, instruments, cosmetics, and more. I do not care about new weapons or items until your current ones aren't bad. Stop adding new equipment until you get your original selection of equipment in check. If you keep adding equipment while your core roster of equipment is imbalanced and you keep making it worse, eventually this will balloon into a problem which will require a dramatic overhaul of equipment. Stop while you're ahead, fix the core, and then add new equipment. Because you can't add new good equipment to the game unless the environment in which you were adding that equipment to is already balanced. Because you could add a moderately useful gun, and it will feel broken in an environment where there are 3 good guns out of a selection of, like, I don't know, 12 guns or something, 15 guns. I know they added, like, 2 more. So it's just like, I don't care. I don't care. Your environment of equipment is the worst part of the game. So adding more bad equipment to your environment of bad equipment does nothing to interest me. And like I said, this is going to be a problem if we have to wait 6 months on average for a new content overhaul to then find out the content is bad. And I can tell you right now, if this doesn't come with massive equipment overhauls and massive system overhauls for the equipment, this will be bad. This will be disastrously disappointing. It will be disastrously bad. I hate to be pessimistic here, but I have no hope. I have no hope as is for equipment, since they did not even address equipment being a problem. Unless new systems of progression involves equipment. Equipment is your progression, so I hope you recognize this. I hope you recognize that equipment is progression in this game, and that equipment needs an overhaul. You need a total overhaul of equipment in this game. It is bad. It's very bad. You are ignoring a glaring, burning chemical fire in the room. And it's threatening to choke everyone out. It's important to understand we're not just stacking new content on top of existing experience. We're refining core systems to support a more meaningful long-term experience. I hope that's true. One you genuinely want to keep returning to. Frozen Trail is just the beginning of where we want to take Arc Raiders, and we'll share more in the coming months. Isn't Arc Raiders like a very casual game? It's built around it. It is a very casual game, and what I'm referring to here is that they don't balance around it being a casual game. The most recent balance in the game, actually kind of demonstrably seems to be that they misunderstand it being a casual game. There's been a consistent problem with legendary and epic equipment in the game being useless. There's no reason to strive for late game loot in this game, in this casual game, when it's not good for anything. And their solution was not to make the late game loot better, but to make the early game loot worse. Now your common and uncommon weapons just break way faster. That's why I'm being rather pessimistic in this regard. Because they seem to dramatically misunderstand their audience and why people are playing the game. The game is very casual. Are casual players having more fun when they're garbage loot, which is already the only loot that's even good in the game? Like, your common and uncommon weapons end up being 90% of what you use, and you just made them worse. Does that sound like it's making the game, or leaning into the casual player base? You didn't even, like, you literally are just making it so you have to suffer no matter what tier. You didn't make the epic weapons better in a meaningful way. The epic weapons already break faster than the epic and legendary weapons in this game already break way faster than the common and uncommon weapons. So now you just made every gun in the game break faster. The Patina, which is the poster child for an epic weapon in this game that has no use case, breaks after about 300 bullets fired. It's a fully automatic gun with a clip size of 20. Which means it breaks after, I think the exact number is 14 clips. I think it breaks after exactly 14 clips at full durability. So after 280 shots fired, it breaks. A 5% durability loss change on the Patina means that you changed it from 280 bullets fired to about 300 bullets fired. You added like 15 more bullets. So you changed it from 14 clips to 15 clips. you easily fire 14 clips of this gun in one run. Which means you break this gun almost every time you load into a game with it. And it is expensive to repair, and even more expensive to put ammo into because it uses heavy bullets. And heavy bullets are the most expensive bullets to craft. They're actually more expensive than the legendary weapons bullets in raw resources. Meanwhile, you increase the rate at which my common guns break by 75%. A Pharaoh, which is a bolt action rifle and probably the most widely used common gun, breaks after about 3 missions. Making it break 75% faster means it's going to now break. It's going to now break in like 1.5 missions. Yes, it's much easier to repair these weapons, but this is just talking about the per bullet damage that these guns take. Because on top of that, the guns take damage when you take damage. So this is assuming you never take damage. You made all of these guns break faster from just shooting, under a situation where you never take damage and the guns never take additional damage. Arc Raiders is casual, and it feels like they don't understand that. I don't think a casual player is excited by their equipment breaking more frequently. Wouldn't it be more annoying for most of the player base if you had legendary guns wiping every lobby? So the game is not very PvP focused. If you don't know, the core of the gameplay is actually PvE focused. So when I'm talking about legendary and epic guns being good, I'm not even talking about them being good against players, because they're demonstrably not good against players. And I don't think they need to be made better against players. The problem is they're not even good against the PvE elements in the game. I mean, they're fine, but they're not very good. It takes more than 100 bullets from the patina to kill, like, a medium-sized enemy in the game. To destroy, like, a bombardier or a bastion. It takes, like, 100 bullets from the patina. And the patina breaks after about 280 bullets. This is a PvE enemy. Meanwhile, the Pharaoh, a common gun, can kill a bastion or a bombardier. Well, they should make, in my opinion, the later game guns either easier to craft and less expensive to maintain, so that it's not as frustrating to try and kill enemies with them, because it's not as much of an investment. Right now, if you're using a legendary or an epic gun, and you're taking down the PvE elements, which you get a lot of your better loot from, you are going negative in cash value from taking down those enemies currently. So you can either make them cheaper to maintain, so that it doesn't cost you money to kill an enemy. Like, even after you get the loot, you're at a net negative most of the time, because it costs more resources to repair and replenish the ammo to your rare gun than you got out of the enemy that you killed with that rare gun. You either need to make that not true, so that it costs less, so that the epic and legendary weapons are more efficient, or you need to buff them. You can do one or the other. Either make them cheaper to maintain, or make them better at killing the PvE elements. If it wasn't super expensive to put 300 bullets into the patina, I wouldn't have a problem with the patina taking a bunch of bullets to kill things. Whatever. Bullets are cheap, but bullets aren't cheap. Bullets are expensive. There is categorically no way to get your money's worth for your investment when you use a gun like the patina. You will never get more than you spent in resources when using the patina. And you need to change that, fundamentally. And that needs to either change by making it cheaper to maintain them, or make them do more damage so you use less bullets. I don't care which way you do it, but one of them has to happen. Because that is the problem, and they seem to woefully misunderstand that problem, since they barely changed how fast these weapons break, and then made our normal weapons break faster. The other thing that needs to happen is these weapons just aren't exciting. Getting rare loot in this game is not exciting. It's a casual game, and even when you do take down... I don't know how, but the laser was really good for big bosses. Or I don't know how now, but the laser was good for big bosses. Yes, the laser Gatling gun is the only rare weapon. I think that one's called the Equalizer. I'm fairly certain it's called the Equalizer. The Equalizer is the only good rare weapon in the game. But even then, the return for what you invest is not commensurate. Because you are taking a weapon that now makes you a target from other players because it's rare and valuable into a game. It's very bad at killing other players. Very bad at killing other players. So if another player decides to try and kill you while you're holding it, you're probably gonna lose because your gun sucks. And on top of that, it's only slightly better. It's only slightly better than cheaper guns. And it's like, okay, one stack of 5 bullets for the Equalizer has a value of 5,000 in the game. So using 5 clips on the Equalizer is like spending 5,000 cash. It is very good, but you can also kill a Rocketeer with 3 clips of the little repeater pistol. The cash value of a stack of ammo for the repeater pistol is, I forget what that pistol is called. The value of that stack of ammo for the repeater pistol is only 600. So the combined value cost for killing a Rocketeer with just 3 stacks is only 1,800. Meanwhile, it still takes about 3 stacks of the Equalizer to kill a Rocketeer. Because while the Equalizer is helpful for killing big things, the only thing it actually does well is knocking the outside armor off of the enemies. It doesn't actually do very good damage once you knock that armor off. So the strategy you normally have to employ with the best legendary gun that currently exists in the game is you use it, you knock the armor off of like the leg or the jet of an enemy, and then you switch from your rare gun over to like a Pharaoh, and then you actually kill it with your weak gun. That's the most effective use of the best legendary gun in the game right now. Is just to knock armor off of enemies and then switch to a shittier gun. Or, not a shittier gun, it's actually a better gun, but a less rare gun. So you're right in saying it's pretty good, but I'm saying the investment risk that you take by using it is not commensurate for your reward. The only way you can even get an equalized reward for risking the use of an equalizer is to kill a queen. And then get one of the 6 cores that's dropped by the queen. So that you can make another equalizer. It takes way more ammo to kill a queen with an equalizer. Oh, yeah. That's why they nerfed the drop rates of cores on the legs. You see what I mean? That they seem to not like the casual play. So, they wanted to make it so that, to stop people from doing that, because they wanted to make it so people actually had to fight the queen. So now the drop rate for cores on queen legs is almost none. They nerfed it a while back, actually. It's true that you used to be able to do that, but they nerfed that, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago. It's going to be hard for me to even find the patch for it. I think it happened maybe in this patch. Kettle, Venator, Jupiter, Affilio, items, content, arc, fix. But yeah, they nerfed the drop rate for cores in the legs. They used to be guaranteed. You used to always get 1 core out of a leg. Now, you can get 0 cores out of a leg, actually. All the legs could have no cores. There's a very small chance for cores to drop in legs now. The only guaranteed drops for the core now are from the core of the queen. And they increased the number of cores in that core from 2 to 4. It used to be that you got 2 guaranteed cores out of the core of the queen. Now it's 4. And they then reduced the likelihood of the legs having cores by a huge margin. Gameplay. Maybe it's under this. Maybe it was in a patch before this one. It was a while ago, so it's going to be hard for me to dig up the exact patch change. I might be able to Google it. My bad, I didn't play since then, but Embark is doing some balance choices right now. I heard they're changing up HP for finals after like 2 years being the same. I hope it's true. Like, look, I love this game. It's been one of my favorite games of all time, and I don't want it to be bad. I want it to be good. I want to be excited enough to play it again. I'm actually sad that I'm not excited to play it. It's not fun or cool or exciting when a thing you enjoy isn't enjoyable anymore. Like, imagine if tomorrow, you woke up and ice cream sucked. That's not fun. Life isn't better. It's sad when a good thing isn't fun anymore. It's heartbreaking. So I don't want these things to be true. That's why I'm bitching and moaning right now. Is I'm sad. I'm sad that I'm not having fun with the game. I'm sad that I don't see a reason to play the game right now. I'm sad that they don't seem to understand the core player base and how the core player base is engaging with the game. It doesn't excite me to play the game when all my stuff breaks more often. I never played the game and went, man, it takes too long to break a gun. I wish I had to repair the guns more often. I was already having to repair the guns after, like, every other mission. What, so now I have to repair the guns after every mission? I gotta go farm trash equipment way more often? I was already having to do that a lot. So now you're telling me I gotta go farm scrap metal like 75% more often? Because that's essentially what this might as well read is when you see 75% durability loss on shot increase, well, it takes scrap metal to repair your common guns. Now you're going to need 75% more scrap metal. That's what that means. Same for... It means and even more painfully than scrap metal, for your uncommon and rare weapons, it also takes gun parts. And gun parts are actually kind of limit or a much rarer resource. Now you're going to need 50% and 35% more weapon parts. God forbid you're a player who doesn't have the blueprint to craft weapon parts. How are you even going to maintain your guns now? And that's why I'm saying, like, I hope this right here, this statement right here, I hope they do this well. I hope they do this well with all my heart. I really do. I hope that this change is good. I hope that they really mean we're refining core systems to support more meaningful long-term experience. I hope when they say that, they aren't just gonna do it, but they're gonna do it well. Because it is the number one thing that I think is suffering in this game. And one of the big cores is that endgame loot's not exciting. It's not exciting to get a legendary or an epic weapon in the game. It might be exciting the first time you ever get it because you don't know. But then you use it and your excitement just goes from, oh yeah, I got an epic weapon. Let me try this out. And then you use it and you go, oh, it's worse than my common gun. Oh. Aw. That's the only experience I've had with all the rare loot in the game, is you get it and you go, oh, I'm just going to use the Pharaoh again. Oh, I'm just going to use the Toro again. Because they're better. Oh, I'm just going to use the Anvil. Because it's better. Starting next week, a new trader. Next week, we're introducing a fresh mechanic designed for late-game players. A new trader from a nomadic tribe of surface dwellers. Many of you have invested a lot in the game, and there's a few common problems that we keep hearing about. You're holding a lot of high-value items with no way to offload them in a rewarding way. This is very true. That excites me to hear them admit that they understand that that's a problem. Your stash is filling up with the game's new items, and we haven't increased the capacity. That's true. The stash is too limited. Very few of you are going on the expedition, either because it's not rewarding enough, or because it's too painful to part with your favorite items and blueprints. 100% true. I was saying earlier, I have never gone on the expedition because I have 190 hours in the game and I don't even have all of the stuff. That's 5 weeks of a full-time job. 5 weeks of a full-time job and I don't even have all the stuff, and you want me to give that up? You want me to work a month of a full-time job, more than a month of a full-time job, to not even get all my stuff back? Well, what are you giving me in that exchange? Because whatever you're giving me has to be worth 5 weeks of a full-time job's worth of labor. You might think that's dramatic, but, like, what are you giving me that's worth 5 weeks of pay, basically? Are you giving me something that's worth, like, $4,000? No? Well, then I'm not doing it. Is it going to be fun? No? Well, then I'm not doing it. So, I hope they're actually addressing these. The new trader unlocks at level 25. Good thing they stepped out and not just release nothing patches with more skins than anything else. I feel like Embark, it really is taking feedback and they're stepping out to fix the game. I hope, because I was just before this talking about Arrowhead with Helldivers 2, and they seem to terminally not understand their community, and not only not understand their community, but lie to them. They lie to their community. They say, oh, we understand, you want us to do this. And then they do it, but then they slap you in the back of the head as soon as you look at the thing that they did. They punish you every time they actually give you something. Embark hasn't developed that relationship with its community yet. Embark, I'm willing to trust that they can do things in the future better, because hey, Ark got way bigger than anyone thought it was going to get. This game has 90,000 people play it every day. That's crazy. That's so many people. It has 90,000 people play it every day on Steam alone. They probably are going through some growing pains. They are probably hiring a lot of people. They probably don't even fully know who they are yet, because who they were can't be who they are now, because they're growing so much. They made so much more money than they ever imagined they were going to make off this game. So, the future for Embark is limitless. I have no idea what they could do, or what they will do, but I hope they make good decisions. I think that it's a good sign that they're having this conversation, like you said, that they're stepping back, and they're having this conversation now. Because the game came out in October of last year. The game is only 7 months old. The game is only 7 months old. Helldivers has been around for 3 years, I think. And they only just this month dropped their message, basically saying the same thing that Embark is saying. Helldivers released in February of 24. So, okay, it's 2 years and 3 months old. So, I'm excited to see Embark stepping back and taking this statement now, after 7 months. Because Arrowhead, they didn't do it for 27 months. They're doing it 20 months faster than Arrowhead did. Embark is 20 months faster at recognizing the problems. And good. That means they have 20 more months to improve over Helldivers. I would be much, much more pessimistic if this was 27 months in and we were getting this message. Just like I'm much more pessimistic towards Arrowhead. Because my biggest statement towards Arrowhead with their statement is, I don't believe you, I don't trust you, I think you're liars. That's what I think about Arrowhead. I don't trust you, I don't believe you, I think you're liars. And I'll believe it when I see it. With Arc Raiders, I go... With Embark, I go, I hope you're right. I hope you know what you're doing. And I'm willing to see. The new trader also offers 2 perks in exchange for high-value items, extra stash space, the Expedition Vault. This allows you to carry over up to 5 items across the expedition, so you can set your new raider up with your favorite items or blueprints. That's not good enough. Like, let's be real. Favorite items and blueprints. That means you're gonna take. That means you're gonna take small gun parts, medium gun parts, heavy gun parts. 1 weapon. Did Embark do something about, like, the rank system, the trials? I was actively playing, like, around the Matriarch, and that was, like, the biggest thing at the time people bitched about. To my knowledge, no. They do need to do something, because I know what you're talking about. Like, people admitted that they were, like, in Discord groups rigging the ranked ladder. Like, I saw that controversy pop up on the subreddit a while back. I don't think they ever acknowledged that. And yeah, the biggest problem is the trials just don't work. You get disproportionately rewarded for playing with duos and trios for the trials, and it basically means players that are playing solo can't compete with people that are playing duos and trios, so the only thing you can do is join one of these Discord groups where they're trying to rig the system and play with other players that are rigging the system. And it's sad, because I was trying to get top of the ladder so hard, and I got all the way up to Hot Shot, I think. I think Hot Shot was the highest I got to, which I think was 2 ranks under the max, and then it was impossible. Like, the number 1 person on my trials each week when I was in Hot Shot would have, like, 250,000 points. And I was honestly like, what are they doing? Like, how do you even get that many points? Are they cheating? So I started doing research on it, and basically they are. They basically go into Discord groups where people are rigging the ladder, and what they do is they'd all try and queue up at the same time to get into a lobby where all the people on the map are part of the Discord group, not just the 3 people in your party, so that you can all get max scores for everything. It's like, that's not the spirit of the system. That's not the spirit of the trials. That's not proving that you're good at doing anything. You're just cheating. So I don't think they've done anything. They probably just need to entirely rework the trial system to not be competitive. And that's kind of sad, but they should probably just make it like a total point thing that you engage with. And if you get to the total point value by the end of the season, you get the reward. Because, yeah, as is, there's no way to possibly get into the top unless you join one of these Discord groups that's helping you cheat. It's the only way. It's very sad. Building for the long term. One thing that has become increasingly clear since launch is how important progression and player goals are to the Arc Raiders experience. If you love Arc Raiders, you want more reasons to keep returning to the Rust Belt. We want to build systems that continue evolving alongside the game. Some of the progression improvements we want to implement simply need more development. We haven't been able to address properly while running on monthly cycles. Moving to large updates allows us to spend more time refining the system players engage with the most. Good. I hope you do something interesting. How do you even balance PvP, PvE ranked when the game is like not pushing you to do anything? You can sneak around arcs and avoid PvP and still do okay. Well, the rank system was only PvE. That's the thing. The rank system is only PvE. And my biggest thing is, I think if you want PvP, it's fine to go for PvP in this game, but you should recognize that this game is not about PvP. The vast majority of players who are playing the game are not doing PvP regularly. The vast majority. This is not a PvP game. I know everyone goes, it's a PvP, PvE game. No, it's a PvE game that has PvP in it. The comparison I always use is this game is more like World of Warcraft, where you team up with players to fight a raid boss, and you can PvP the people in your party if you want to. Like, in World of Warcraft, you roll against your teammates to get loot, and the winner of the roll gets the loot, and then you scream at each other like, I needed that! Why did you take that from me? In Ark, if your teammate takes the loot you needed and you can't work it out through communication, you shoot them. Simple as. The game is a PvE game that has PvE or PvP in it. The core loop of the game is PvE. The most interesting combat is PvE. All the guns are balanced around killing PvE. The rank system in the game does not reward you even a little bit for PvP. There's nothing in the game that actually rewards you for PvP. Outside of getting an item that you might need. But you can't guarantee that you're going to get items you need by killing other players. Actually, most of the time when you kill other players, you get garbage. You get stuff you don't need, and then you just leave all the items on their body. How often, if you play the game, how often did you find bodies on the ground, look in their inventory, and it was just full? Like, all the stuff was still on them. Almost all the time. At least that's how me and all the people I played with experienced. When we found bodies, almost everything on them was still on them when we found the bodies. Because you're not getting stuff you need when you kill players most of the time. The only reason to kill players most of the time is just for the fun of it. Because you have fun killing players. Well, part of it is free kit is so good. So, like, most of the people doing PvP just have a free kit. But also, like, it's because, like I said, rare guns aren't very good. So, you're not going to risk rare equipment that players might want most of the time if you think people are going to kill you. And you can't defend yourself with rare equipment against players who have regular equipment. I don't even think this is a problem. I think the game is popular and people like it because it's a PvE game. It is. It's a PvE game. And people like it. People love it that way. If people didn't love it, it wouldn't be popular. But I feel like if what you're saying right now misses the big rat player thing, extraction camping and shit. Yeah, you run into rats sometimes. But most of the rats have quit. Because you don't get rewarded for ratting. There were a lot of rats when the game first came out. Most of the rats have quit playing. For a couple reasons. When you play the game, you build up a party of people very quickly. And you normally don't go to extraction alone. And the rats can't kill like 4 players. The rats are always solo. So when you show up to extraction with 4 buddies, they're fucked. And then, even when the rats do kill someone, they don't get anything. Like, they get garbage. Or they might not get garbage, but they don't get stuff they specifically need. Because you go into a game looking for specific items for your progression. A rat player can't target players with specific items. They don't know what they have till they kill them. And the more players you kill, the less likely you are to survive, especially if you're a rat running a free kit, because you only have 1 shield and like 1 heal in a free kit. So you're probably only going to get to kill 1 person and then have to leave. So, like, rats were a problem, but they're not really a problem anymore. Really, the only rats that still exist are when you do matriarchs and queens. There will be people standing on the outskirts trying to kill the people that came into the matriarch or queen event that have good equipment. But even that's hard to do, because if you shoot someone during a matriarch or a queen event, there's like 5 to 10 people doing the matriarch or queen event, and they're all going to turn around and blast your ass. Because they're all going to go, we got a PvPer! And they're all, this is what happened every time I played. This is what happened every time I played. Like, it's been a minute since I played Arc Raiders, but, it's been, 3 months since I played Arc Raiders. But this was how every Arc Raiders game I played out, was you queue in and then immediately develop a party of friends. Like, just a party of friends. Like, I basically never get killed in these games, or never got killed in these games, because you'd go in, I'm not even sneaking, you see I'm not crouching, I'm running around. Nothing bad is happening. Nothing bad is happening. I'm full of stuff. I have a snap hook, I'm going around without abandon. What happens when I encounter players? Okay. That's an arc. We killed an arc. I run into another player.
Yo, what we doing, homie?
I guess looking for more loot.
You trying to extract? More goop?
Yeah, I think I need more goop. I don't really have that much yet.
Yo, wait. Remember what I told you in the beginning?
Yeah.
Fireball, you remember?
Yeah, I'm not... It's like every game. You just... Everyone you run into is a friend. Yeah, I never understood why you would buy $40 or buy $40 to sit in a train station for 20 minutes and kill a few dudes trying to get a fruit for their chicken. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what happened. Like, you fucking, like, every game I'd play, everyone is actually just trying to help each other. occasionally PvP would happen, but it's rare. Like, I'm never running around, like, with fear. I'm not even trying to hide most of the time. And look,
Right.
I'm pretty sure I get
Why
saved
did it
here.
even notice me? What, don't have.
I'm right here. I'm building for cover, although it seems to have... Oh, shit, thank you. I got killed here by a Rocketeer. I had good stuff on me. They could have just let me die and loot me. But do they? No, they picked me up. I don't even know why that thing fucking noticed me. Oh my god, thank you. And then they heal me. Oh shit, it sees us again. This goes to the karma matchmaking. Yeah, there's definitely, like, karma matchmaking that, like, factors in. But it really fucking does. This is how most people play the game, so most people are in these friendly lobbies. So, the only way the game is miserable is if you make it miserable. Like, at least with PvP. And most players are playing the way I'm playing. Most players are playing this way, where they're helping each other out. Most players are jumping in, just trying to be bros. And this is what's fun, is teaming up against these big dangerous Ark. This is what most people are doing. Nice, guys, nice.
Good job.
Thanks for the save.
Thank you.
And that's the average Ark experience, is you run around, make friends, chat with random people. And that's what's fun about it too, which is why most people are playing this way. Because what happens if you play the game PvP? You don't get to make friends. You're like you said, you're sitting alone. You're creeping around. You don't trust anyone. You're like, fuck all these people. They're my enemy. Ugh. I hate humanity. Everyone with a pulse is my enemy. I hate friendship. I hate people. And you like, why are you even playing a multiplayer game at that point? There's a reason the other other extraction shooters are multiplayer. There's a reason Marathon puts you in a party of 3 people. Because if the core of your game is PvP, then you never get human interaction if the game doesn't force you to have teammates. So, yes, there's a trios and duos option where you can queue up to have teammates. But that's the only way you're actually going to be playing PvP, is if you queue into the trios to get random teammates. But most people don't play that way. The vast majority of people don't play that way. And it's because it's antisocial. And one of the reasons we play online games is to have a social experience. It's so we can hang out with people. So we can chat with people. We can have fun with other people. You can't do that if you're playing solos PvP. You're never going to talk to another human being. And you're depriving yourself of an entire segment of the game. And that's why most people don't play that way. And why most of the people who do play that way quit. Most of the people who played that way quit playing the game. And don't play it anymore. And they quit quick. The bigger picture, it's important to us that players understand something about where our collective Embark brain is at. Our ambitions go far beyond what players have been seen so far. We want to go further into showing you the wider universe of Arc Raiders. We think about Arc Raiders as an experience that should continue expanding over time. Right now, we're still early in the journey. The biannual cadence gives us the opportunity to develop and build future updates with more intention concerning the gameplay progression narrative. Worlds still all move together. Right now, Raiders are facing an escalating Arc threat, and society in Speranza may feel helpless against it. But Raiders aren't built to stay on the back foot. The goal has always been bigger than survival. It's about one day reclaiming the surface. So, like, that right there is also saying, like, you can't reclaim, like, this narratively is telling us that they recognize that the game is PvE. You don't reclaim the surface by killing your teammates. You reclaim the surface by working together. So, I'm hoping that means that that they're going to increase cooperative narrative gameplay focus. Because it's how we're already playing. Frozen Trail will start to progress this goal and expose elements of this challenge. But it's really just the beginning. We aim to consistently shift the paradigm that Raiders operate under so you feel the effects of your actions persevering against the Arc. Thank you, Raiders. The Rust Belt is nothing without the Raiders who fill it with life every single day. We understand that this change won't please everyone, that it might be frustrating not to get updates as frequently, but we truly believe this is worth it. Thank you for continuing to push us to create the best game we can. As always, we'll see you topside. It does suck we're going to have to wait till October. But depending on how they address some of the problems with the game now, it could be like having a brand new game come out in 6 months. The biggest problem for me is between now and October, there's really no reason for me to play the game unless they have a balance update that fixes the gun problem. And they said that balance team is going to be separate from the content team, so we should get balance updates. But I'm not playing the game until they fix the guns. And that's just the truth. I'm not playing the game until they fix the guns. And I hope they fix the guns soon, because I want to play the game.